The WB television network was an American television network that was first launched on broadcast television on January 11, 1995 as a joint venture between the Warner Bros.Entertainment division of Time Warner and the Tribune Broadcasting subsidiary of the Tribune Company, with the former acting as controlling partner. The network principally aired programs targeting teenagers and young adults between the ages of 13 and 34, with the exception of its weekday daytime and Saturday morning program block, Kids WB, which was geared toward children ages 7 to 12. On January 24, 2006, CBS Corporation and Warner Bros. Entertainment announced plans to shut down the network and launch the CW later that same year. The WB television network shut down on September 17, 2006, with select programs from both it and competitor UPN moving to the CW when it launched the following day, September 18. Time Warner reused the WB brand for an online network that launched on April 28, 2008, about 18 months after the WB television network ceased broadcasting operations. Until it was discontinued in December 2013, the website allowed users to watch shows aired on the former television network, as well as original programming and shows formerly hosted on the now-defunct Tin2 TV service. The website could only be accessed within the United States. History: 1993 to 95. Origins: much like its competitor UPN, the WB was summoned in reaction primarily to the Federal Communications Commission's then recent deregulation of media ownership rules that repealed the financial interest and syndication rules, and partly due to the success of the Fox network and first-run syndicated programming during the late 1980s and early 1990s, as well as the erosion in ratings suffered by independent television stations due to the growth of cable television and movie rentals. The network can also trace its beginnings to the Primetime Entertainment Network, a programming service operated as a joint venture between Time Warner and the Chris Craft Industries group of stations, and launched in September 1993. On November 2, 1993, the Warner Bros. Entertainment division of Time Warner announced the formation of the WB television network, with the Tribune Company holding a minority interest. As such, Tribune Broadcasting signed agreements to affiliate 6 of its 7 television stations at the time, all of which were independent stations, including the television group's 2 largest stations, WPIX in New York City and KTLA in Los Angeles. With the network, only 5 of these stations, along with the 6th that Tribune acquired the following year, would join the WB at launch. On December 3, 1993, the WB announced a separate affiliation agreement with Tribune for its Chicago flagship station WGN-TV. Through this deal, WGN's Superstation feed would provide additional national distribution for the WB as a cable-only affiliate, in order to give the network time to fill gaps in markets where it was unable to find an affiliate at launch. Although Tribune had a minority stake in the network, its stations were not technically considered owned and operated stations of the WB since Time Warner held controlling interest in the network's ownership. When the network was announced, the WB planned to run a predominantly network program schedule over time. It was originally slated to launch with 2 nights of primetime programming in its first year, and 2 additional nights of primetime programming, a nightly half-hour in late primetime, 4.5 hours of weekday daytime programming and a 4-hour Saturday morning children's lineup in its second year. By the third year, a 5th night of primetime and 1.5 hours of weekday programming outside of primetime primetime would have been added, followed by an additional hour of programming in primetime and 1.5 hours on weekday afternoons by the network's fourth year, and a seventh night of primetime in the fifth year of operation. However, this plan was scaled back dramatically, as the WB launched with only one night of primetime programming, and by September 1995, the network added only one additional night, along with a 3-hour Saturday morning and 1-hour weekday morning children's block. Warner Bros.Entertainment appointed many former Fox executives to run the network, including the network's original chief executive Jamie Kellner, who served as president of Fox from 1986 to 1993, and president of programming Garth Answer, who was the programming chief of Fox from 1986 to 1989. 1995 to 97 beginnings. The WB television network premiered on January 11, 1995, with the inaugural episode of The Wayans Brothers. As its first program, the classic Warner Brothers cartoon character Michigan J. Frog appeared on air as the network's official mascot, and would remain as part of the network's branding in one form or another until 2005. Much of the network's branding was based around Warner Brothers locations and characters. The television network's original logo was based on the typography of the iconic Warner Brothers Pictures Shield logo. Network promotions and imaging campaigns for the WB and the Kids WB block from the launches until the 2003-2004 season were also centered on the Warner Brothers Studios backlit. The WB's scheduling structure was similar to Fox's when it launched, as it started with one night a week of programming and then gradually added additional nights of programming over the course of several seasons. The network started with a 2-hour Wednesday night lineup of sitcoms, airing from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern and Pacific Time. The limited amount of network programming in the WB's early years essentially rendered its affiliates as nominal independent stations. Because of this, affiliates held the responsibility of programming primetime slots on nights that the network did not program, airing either first-run and/or off-network syndicated programs, or more commonly, movies. The network's first programs were mostly sitcoms targeted at an ethnically black audience, even though 4 of the 5 shows that debuted in the netlet's first 9 months were renewed beyond the first year. The Wayans Brothers, Unhappily Ever After, The Parenthood, and Sister, none of them made significant impact. On August 17, 1995, the Tribune Company acquired a 12.5% limited partnership interest in the WB for $12 million. The deal gave Tribune an option to increase its stake in the network up to a 25% interest. Tribune would eventually increase its ownership share in the WB to 22.5% on March 31, 1997. The WB expanded its programming to Sunday nights for the 1995-96 season, but none of the new shows managed to garner much viewing interest. The network also launched the Kids WB programming block in September 1995, which featured a mix of existing Warner Bros. Animated series that originated either on Fox Kids or in syndication and originally aired on Monday through Saturday mornings. The WB continued to expand in the 1996-97 season, adding programming on Monday nights. This season gave the WB modest hits in the Aaron Spelling-produced family drama Seventh Heaven and comedies The Steve Harvey Show and The Jamie Foxx Show 1997-2000. Courting the teen market, the WB first began to experience success with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which became a hit with critics when it premiered as a mid-season replacement in March 1997. It debuted with the highest Monday night ratings in the network's history, attracting not only new teenage viewers but new advertisers as well. Inspired by Buffy's success, the WB intentionally shifted the focus of its programming, trying to capture what it perceived to be a heavily fragmented market by marketing to the undercourted teen demographic. While the Fox network, the previous destination for teen television, began to court older audiences with shows such as Ally McBeal, the WB began to craft its identity with programs targeted at teenagers. The network's breakout hit and arguably its signature series was Dawson's Creek, which debuted in January 1998 to what were then the highest ratings in the network's history. It quickly became the highest-rated show on television among teenage girls, and the most popular program on the WB. The popularity of Dawson helped boost the network's other shows, such as Buffy, which served as its lead-in on the WB's new night of programming that also launched in January 1998, branded as New Tuesday, and Seventh Heaven, which enjoyed a massive 81% increase in viewership that season. With 3 hit shows in its roster, the WB continued to build its teen fan base the following season with college drama Felicity and the Wicca-themed Charmed, both of which set new records for the network when they respectively premiered to 7.1 and 7.7 million viewers. Charmed had the highest-rated premiere on the network until Smallville broke its record, debuting to 8.4 million viewers in October 2001. At the start of the 1998-99 season, the network expanded its programming to Thursday nights. That season, Seventh Heaven overtook Dawson's Creek as the network's highest-rated program, and garnered the WB the highest ratings it would ever see. The show's February 8, 1999 episode attracted 12.5 million viewers. For the 1999-2000 season, the network concluded its primetime expansion with the addition of programming on Friday nights. New shows that season included Roswell, Popular, and the Buffy the Vampire Slayer spin-off Angel, the latter of which premiered with 7.5 million viewers, the second highest-rated premiere for the network at the time. During this season, the WB was the only network to have gains in its total audience viewership and in each key demographic, 2000 to 2003, broadening the focus as the teen boom of the late 1990s began to wane. The WB attempted to broaden the scope of its primetime lineup. Although teen-oriented fare like Popular and Roswell had premiered to strong ratings, both series saw serious ratings erosion in the sophomore seasons, leading the network to cancel them both. Meanwhile, even though ratings for Seventh Heaven, Buffy and Charmed remained consistent, viewership for flagship series such as Felicity and Dawson's Creek began sagging. The network realized that it could no longer rely merely on the tastes of young teenage girls, and thus began moving back into more family-friendly fare, attempting to launch a successful sitcom, and generally targeting a more diverse audience. This new strategy came as the WB had dropped to 6th place in the ratings among all major broadcast networks during the 1999-2000 season, losing 19% of its household audience. Executives for the network attributed the ratings decline in large part due to the Tribune Company's decision to remove WB network programming from WGN-TV's Superstation feed in October 1999, on the pretense that the network's national distribution was large enough that it was no longer necessary for WGN to broadcast the WB's programs. Outside of Chicago, the network reached several affiliation deals during the prior 4 years with various station owners, buoyed by the September 1998 launch of the WB 100 Plus Station Group, a national cable-only service that served most of the 110 smallest Nielsen media markets in the United States that did not have enough television stations to support an over-the-air affiliate. The removal of the WB's programs from the WGN national feed effectively reduced the network's potential household audience by 10 million homes. Despite the slight downturn in the network's fortunes, there were a few bright spots during the era. Gilmore Girls, which debuted in 2000, netted meager ratings when it debuted in a tough Thursday time slot, but subsequently grew into one of the network's most successful shows after moving to Tuesdays in 2001, where it remained for 6 seasons. Also in the fall of 2000, the fantasy sitcom Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, moved from ABC to the WB as part of its Friday night schedule. The show continued on the network for 3 more seasons before ending in May 2003. Time Warner transferred operational duties for the WB from Warner Bros.Entertainment over to its Turner Broadcasting System division in 2001. On November 12, 2002, Chairman Jamie Kellner, who became Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Turner Broadcasting System concurrent with the deal, sold his 11% stake in the WB to majority corporate parent AOL Time Warner, leaving it and minority owner, the Tribune Company, as the only partners in the network. Following Kellner's departure from Turner, AOL Time Warner reassigned the network's operations back to the Warner Brothers unit in 2003. In October 2001, the Superman-inspired Smallville debuted with 8.4 million viewers, the highest-rated premiere in the history of the network. The show was also important because it was one of the few series that drew a substantial male viewership. 2001 also saw the launch of the Reba McEntire vehicle Reba, arguably the network's most successful comedic series. Reba and Sabrina served as the linchpins for a new Friday night sitcom block that debuted in October 2001 and continued for much of the remainder of the network's run. Other series to gain attention during this period were the family drama Everwood, and the short-lived but critically acclaimed soap satire Grosse Pointe. 2003-06 decline. Despite some early success, the network struggled to shift its focus from the female 12 to 24 demographic to the broader 12 to 34 range, in its attempt to attract a broader young adult audience. In 2005, the network retired Michigan J. Frog as the network's trademark mascot. The WB's president of entertainment at the time, David Gianolari, explained in July 2005 at the network's summer press tour that was a symbol that perpetuated the young teen feel of the network. That's not the image we want to put to our audience. Still, the move did not seem to help the network. The period from 2003 to 2005 produced only 3 viable new series: the teen-oriented drama One Tree Hill, social experiment reality competition Beauty, and the geek and fantasy drama Supernatural. And even still, the ratings paled in comparison to the ratings peaks of Dawson's Creek, which had ended its run in May 2003. Ratings dropped for many of the WB's shows, while also canceling shows with steady ratings such as Angel. The network failed to launch new hit shows to take the places. Although the WB's well-known inability to launch successful comedy series was nothing new, this period saw the network struggling to establish new dramas as well. High-profile failures included Birds of Prey, Tarzan, Jack Namp, Bobby the Mountain, the Jerry Bruckheimer-produced legal dramedy Just Legal, the Marta Kaufman-created dramedy Related, and the Rebecca Roman vehicle Pepper Dennis. During the 2004-05 season, the WB finished behind rival UPN for the first time in 4 years, and fell even further behind in fall 2005. Both networks fell behind Spanish-language network Univision in the overall 18 to 34 demographic. Between November and December 2005, the network laid off approximately 40 employees amid continued ratings and profit losses, with network representatives expecting the WB to lose about $35 million during the 2005-06 fiscal year. The WB was programming 6 days and 13 hours per week at this time. 2006. Network closure on January 24, 2006. CBS Corporation and Warner Bros.Entertainment announced plans to shut down both UPN and the WB and partner to launch a new broadcast television network that would include series from both soon-to-be predecessor networks, known as the CW. Over the next 9 months, it was to be seen which shows from the two networks would cross over to the CW, as well as which stations aligned with either UPN or the WB would become future affiliates of the new network. In the end, Seventh Heaven, Beauty and the Geek, Gilmore Girls, One Tree Hill, Reba, Smallville and Supernatural were chosen to move from the WB to the CW for its inaugural 2006-07 fall schedule. Seventh Heaven and Reba were originally cancelled after the 2005-06 season, but were ultimately renewed at the last minute with 13-episode deals. Supernatural, which entered its 10th season in 2014, is currently the last surviving series from the WB that remains on the CW network schedule. Tribune Broadcasting also committed 16 of its 19 WB-affiliated stations at the time to serve as the network's core affiliates, alongside 11 UPN, O and AMP-Os that were named as CW charter stations by CBS Corporation. Starting on August 14, 2006 with the daytime WB block, the WB stopped displaying its on-screen logo bug during the network's programming and replaced it with a countdown of days until the CW's premiere. Some stations that either affiliated with My Network TV, became independent stations or became CW charter affiliates received a logo-free feed of the network, while others took the main feed and overlaid the station's own logo bug over the CW's logo. The WB aired its final night of programming on September 17, 2006 with the Night of Favorites and Farewells, a 5-hour block of pilot episodes of the network's past signature series. Commercial breaks featured re-airings of past image campaigns and network promotions, along with promotional spots given to cable networks carrying these shows in off-network syndication and ads for each series TV on DVD box set. The 60-second montage that closed the WB's existence featured many well-known stars from shows that aired during the 11-year run of the network, ending with the statement, "For 11 years, you brought us into our homes. We made you smile and tugged at your heart. And now, we say goodbye. From all of us at the WB, thank you." The final image seen in the montage was former network mascot Michigan J. Frog, who is shown taking his hat off and bowing, thanking the audience for watching the network for 11 years and marking the end of the WB. The final night of WB programming netted relatively low ratings. The network scored a 1.0 household rating and a share of 2, meaning just 2% of viewers were tuned into the WB on its final night of programming. This is mostly due to the fact that some WB affiliates in certain areas had already joined My Network TV, which debuted 2 weeks before the CW's launch on September 5, leaving the WB's final 2 weeks of programming unavailable in those areas. After its closure, the network's URLs were redirected to the CW's website, cwtv.com. By March 30, 2008, the URLs redirected to the Warner Bros. Studios homepage before being redirected to the THUB.com beta website 1 month later on April 28. The CW maintained many operational and scheduling elements from the WB. When it launched on September 18, 2006, the CW initially maintained the WB's scheduling model. The WB had carried 30 hours of network programming each week in comparison to UPN's weekly programming total of 12 hours. It also inherited the WB 100+ station group, which became the CW+, though the distribution model of the CW+ started to differ from the WB 100+ by mixing digital sub-channel affiliations, alongside the cable-only affiliates and few conventional affiliate stations that were part of the predecessor group at the end of the WB's run. The CW continued the daytime WB block, which became the CW Daytime, although 2 blocks that moved to the CW from the WB would eventually be discontinued. Kids WB continued on the CW until May 17, 2008, when it was replaced with the CW 4Kids after 4Kids Entertainment began programming the CW's Saturday morning block through a time lease agreement. The CW discontinued its Sunday prime-time schedule in September 2009, effectively ending the Easy View block in the process. 2008-13, Internet streaming. Warner Bros. Television planned on resurrecting the WB brand in the form of a website at THUB.com, the website domain used for the official site of the broadcast network. The site streamed episodes of series that were broadcast during the WB television network's 1995-2006 run, including Gilmore Girls, Smallville, Everwood, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, Roswell, and What I Like About You. The new incarnation of the THUB.com began in beta testing on April 28, 2008 and officially launched on August 27. The site, whose business model resembled that of free-to-stream services such as Hulu, was ad-supported and geared primarily to women ages 15 to 39. In addition to older full-length series, the website featured original serialized web content including short series and vignettes from such well-known television producers as Josh Schwartz and MCG, including Sorority Forever, Pushed, Rockville, CA, The Lake and Children's Hospital. Each of these 10-episode programs ran for 5 minutes. Many other well-known Warner Bros. Produced series that did not air on the WB television network, including Friends and The O.C., were also made available on the site. However, the website did not include episodes of 2 of the WB's most popular shows, Charmed and Felicity, as the distribution rights to Charmed are owned by CBS Television Distribution and Felicity's rights are owned by Disney ABC Domestic Television. Comcast offers over 1,000 episodes from the Warner Bros. Television library on its video-on-demand service. While Warner Bros.Entertainment did not promote the site in any multimedia ads, it had drawn about 250,000 unique viewers a month, according to Mindshare's Mr. Chapman, who had been tracking the site. Some of its original material had been offered on partner sites such as MySpace and Facebook. Data compiled by Comscore Videometrics showed that 62% of visitors to the site were female. The MCG-produced original series Sorority Forever premiered on the site on September 8, 2008. By 2012, it had accrued more than 7.3 million views from Thub.com and partner sites. An original reality series, Rich Girl, Poor Girl from Laguna Beach and Newport Harbor executive producer Gary Auerbach, in which two teenagers from different economic and social backgrounds swap lives, had ranked among the top 100 programs in the teenage category on iTunes since its October 20, 2008 debut, with the full replacement of the CW's original internet programming efforts with the CW Seed portal. The WB website was shut down in December 2013. The closure of the WB website ended after more than 18 years. The usage of the brand name, the WB. Internet advertising. The clothing retailer H&M, not a traditional television advertiser, sponsored Sorority Forever and had some of its clothing worn by characters in the series. Unilever's Axe brand has sponsored Children's Hospital. Warner Horizon Television Executive Vice President Craig Irwidge, who oversaw Thub.com, said in regards to these tie-ins, if an advertiser has an interest in a series we have in production, we can work in the products or even adjust our launch dates if they want to tie it into a special promotion.